Wealth Advisors. Well, thank you for being with us. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, Lisa. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. So,
Yeah.
I know we have a specific goal in mind to talk about retirement income planning, but let's talk about what you guys do overall.
Well, we are a comprehensive wealth management firm, and we do everything from, helping folks with their budget all the way to charitable giving and, making sure you're covered if there's a long-term care need, that your wills and trusts are in place and up to date. But today I thought we could just talk about what our clients need nowadays more than anything, and that's planning for income in retirement.
Right. Well, we're all kind of looking towards that moment when you hit a particular age, and some people want to retire earlier than others, and there are ramifications to that, especially if you haven't planned correctly. So, tell me about some of the changes that people need to be thinking about when they are thinking about retiring.
Well, the first thing to remember is that there are changes, and change is inevitable in life. And the stage that people go in when they're in retirement and needing income completely changes the way they've looked at their investments in the past. And quite often, folks aren't familiar with that process. They've had an investment portfolio, they've accumulated assets over time. Perhaps they inherited the assets or they're a surviving spouse. And the financial focus shifts now from accumulating money to now taking income off the money or the assets. It might be real estate involved and so on. So it's a big shift to go to from accumulation to withdrawing money. So that's important to remember. And then of course all of the income that you develop from that time has to last not for a finite amount of time, but generally for an infinite amount of time, meaning the rest of your life until you leave this earth. So it's a big shift.
Well, yeah, and I know some people it would seem unfortunate that some people do make mistakes where then they find themselves only having enough money to last them maybe 10 years.
It's so true. And, there's about four major things that come up all the time nationwide about the greatest fears that we have as people. One of them, of course, is the fear of humiliation, the fear of embarrassment, which relates to public speaking. Another one is fear of having a loved one either pass away or get sick. Number three is running out of money before we leave this earth. So running out of money and living on your heirs, or on your relatives or your children, or having to live on nothing, basically, or just on Social Security is very difficult, very difficult.
Right. And, there's a lot of people who actually are very worried about Social Security. I mean, there's been talk multiple times now where, gosh, we're going to run out of Social Security. Well, that's horrific sounding, especially for people who have been putting in all this time.
Yes, it really is. And we've mentioned before, Lisa, when you and I spoke a few months back about the idea of Social Security disappearing. That won't happen, nor will it change for those who are already collecting it. But there may be a reduction if things aren't changed. And we have change in the mix right now going on to revise the entire Social Security system. But there's about 4 steps to help develop an income strategy. And again, it's mostly psychological, getting just used to the idea that, hey, I've got to go into this income mode now. But it's really important to make sure that we're prepared for the budget. We prepare ourselves psychologically and financially for the fact that we're going to be withdrawing money from our investments or our assets. So you have to prepare first for unexpected things, things that we don't anticipate, perhaps a large cost of something, emergency, a medical emergency, something like that. We have to prepare for that. That's done generally by insurance. And then know what our expected cash flow is in retirement. What are our expected expenses? How can we best predict those? That's done by going through a comprehensive financial plan, not necessarily a very arduous or difficult plan, but more than a back of the envelope, if you know what I mean. Something that's really well thought out and put together for someone. And then from there, from that expected expense report, we have to change the mix of the assets from growth and stock type investments to income producing assets, perhaps rental income from property, dividends, interest from bonds, etc. And in that mix, generally we have insurance. There's a way to insure your income as well through vehicles called annuities. And there are many, many ethical annuity companies out there, like the Teachers Insurance and Annuity Association, TIAA. And there's ways to provide lifetime income in this income preparation. And then last but not least, we have to make sure that we know that we're going to tap into something. What are the assets and when? There's tax implications, taking money out of IRAs, 401ks, and so on. So what assets we're going to tap into and when? So it requires planning.
Yeah. Let's talk about the person that may not have thought about this, or they're coming to the point in their lives, maybe in their 50s, where they're like, I've never had a financial planner. Is that something that I need to do? And if they're thinking about it at this point in their life, is it too late?
No, that's a great question, Lisa. I believe it's never too late. And the reason why is financial planners really help people. It's hard to believe we have the old school model of these financial guys that are, stock jockeys. Perhaps they weren't, they did something different. But financial planners like myself and my staff, we actually help people to enhance their clarity, their focus, their organization, make things simpler, and candidly help them with a better yield, with less risk. So there's value there. Recently, we renovated our offices here. And when we came in, they just need to be completely redone from above the ceiling down below the floors. We had actual subfloors were replaced too. We hired professionals. We hired designers. We hired architects. We hired all these people to get a good flow of energy through the office, the right coloring and all that, even the door hinges and the doorknobs. And we did it with the help of other professionals for less money than we would have spent on our own. That's what a professional should do. They should provide you with a better result, right, for less cost, and in the end. So to your point, yes, definitely, it's worth having a financial planner if you've never had one, and even more so if you've never had one, because then you have to kind of pick up the pieces and get things organized,
Right. Right. And you guys provide a consultation. So if somebody was to come to you, what are some of the things that they need to bring with them for you to be able to evaluate what is needed?
So to best serve someone that's interested in meeting us, we give folks a list. Generally, it's, hey, let's see what your goals are, what you want to do with your money, where your assets are located, what they consist of. Some people don't have that all written down or on a statement of sorts. So we just ask them to bring a pile of statements in. Believe it or not, back in Washington, D.C., I'll never forget this. So folks heard about me on the New York Times. And I was just busy doing my work, and all of a sudden my assistant called me out, hey, Nick, we have some folks out here, and they have a shopping bag. Really? Yeah, they heard about you in the New York Times, and they want to talk to you. They had a shopping bag filled with statements from an accumulation of a lifetime. They're still my clients now. Actually, the wife has predeceased the husband, but the husband now, thank God we consolidated, organized, got everything together for them, because now he has Alzheimer's and she's passed away and she handled all the finances.
Oh, wow.
What a scenario. So thank goodness they had the intuition or the foresight to come in and talk to us.
Yeah.
Same thing here. We just ask folks, hey, bring what you have.
Okay.
And on that note, we have a really, I think, useful webinar coming up. It's about a month away. It's actually Tuesday, November 10th at 6 p.m. It's a virtual webinar. Today, not very many folks are coming in the office here. And candidly, a lot of what we do is virtual anyway. I have a lot of clients in Washington, D.C. with the CIA, the FBI. And we would like to impart ideas about income planning, retirement income planning. In fact, it's called retirement income planning.
Mm-hmm.
And if for those who haven't been on a webinar, it's so easy. If you called us and you registered for it, we'd send you a link, and then you just click on the link and you're in. So we ask you to call us at the office here at 949-715-8585, and we'll register you for this webinar. I think there's a limit. I don't know how many. It's probably 100, not that many people. But once you're in this webinar, then you'll be connected with us, and you'll kind of hear a little bit more about the substance of what income planning really looks like.
I love it. I think that's a great opportunity for sure, because we have so many questions. And upon that note, does the webinar allow a question and answer session?
Yes, at the end, thanks for asking, Lisa. At the end, we offer two things. One, a virtual question and answer session based on the material that I provide in that webinar. And it's not a sales presentation, it's informational. And then an opportunity to set up an appointment with me directly, either virtually or in person here at the office. We're at that Civic Center, that really nice Mediterranean building right across from the old Macy's. Mm-hmm. We're in such a nice location here for folks around this area, in Orange County especially. And anyway, they can come in virtually by computer or come in person. to meet with myself and my staff to discuss income needs. A lot of this is personal and private.
Yes. Yes. And I'm sure you keep everything confidential and you've got
Yes.
the utmost security. So that's awesome.
Yes, absolutely. This is a very sensitive topic once again, and it's a big part of the fears that we face. Why not alleviate and just quell those fears by hiring a professional? Is the kind of the way I look at it.
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you so much. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
you taking the time. And again, that webinar is Tuesday, November 10th at 6 p.m. And they can go ahead and call to reserve their spot. So thank you for the information.
Thank you, Lisa. Hope all is well. Stay healthy.
All right. You too. We'll see you again.
Thank you. You as well. Bye.
All right. And we'll be right back after this.